back, guys. Today we're going to continue our NFL predictions with the New Orleans Saints. And this Saints team, last year was a bit of a transition year. This was the first Saints year that they did not have Sean Payton as their coach. Dennis Allen ended up being the guy for being the coach for this team. And I thought the transition would have gone a lot smoother than it did. Because he was a pretty good defensive coordinator for this team. And I thought the team was just going to respond and kept the train rolling. But boy, did he bungled his chance again as a head coach. Now, he didn't lose his job or anything, but I know he's going to enter 2023 in the hot seat. Because the Saints, they did some tweaking on the offense. One big tweak that we're going to talk about later on. And let's just hope the Saints, and given that the rest of the division is either in a rebuild or stuck in mud, they have a chance to get over the hump and get back in the postseason. And looking at last year's schedule, they started the season off with a win. They actually started off the season off with Jameis Winston as their quarterback, coming from behind and beating the Falcons, before losing their next three, two against divisional opponents, before going on the road in London, losing to the Vikings. They did get a win over the Seahawks, but injuries started to hit them right here, losing to the Bengals and then losing to the Cardinals. It was probably around here where Michael Thomas announced he was going to be out for the year again. And the rest of their wins has been spotted. They got a win over the Rams because they were injured just as much as they were. But after their bye week, they started to win. But sadly for them, it was too little too late. They got a win over the Falcons, got a win over the Browns, beat the Eagles, who didn't have Jalen Hurts, before losing to the Panthers on probably one of the worst played games this year. And looking at some highlights, they swept the Falcons again. I'm not really going to touch up on that too much. Let's just say they were the better team. They were better than Atlanta. They shut out the Raiders, and this was basically a revenge game for Dennis Allen, because the Raiders, an offense that had Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, Derek Carr, Darren Waller, they could not crack past midfield till end of the game in garbage time. It was pretty much the most dominant win I've seen from the Saints this year. And Chris Olave, because of all the injuries they had on their receiving core, Olave became the top target for this team, and he took the most of it. And there's some high expectations for this kid going forward with the Saints. Now for some lowlights and wide receiver injuries. And yes, we're talking about Michael Thomas, but not only him, Jarvis Landry, he also showed his age during this season. They brought him over from Cleveland, and he got hurt. He was in and out of the lineup with injuries himself. And the bad play calling against the Bucks. Against it was bad clock management. I would explain in detail what all went down, but it'll be too much for me to talk about. Let's just say clock management cost them against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in that second Monday night game. But they also got swept by the Panthers. The Panthers beat them week 3. And that was with Matt Rhule as their head coach. And then Panthers won again, and out came despite Sam Darnold having one of the worst QB games played this year. And now on to some acquisitions. And the big acquisition they had was Derek Carr. The Raiders basically gave up on him, and they decided to send him to the New Orleans. Decided to cut him and the Saints decided to pick him up on a nice 4-year deal. They also added Jamal Williams, and this signing made more sense than you think. We know Alvin Kamara. He's probably going to be facing some sort of suspension at some point. Jamal Williams will definitely fill in and do a good job there. Now for the subtractions, Marcus Davenport left for Minnesota. Jarvis Landry is now still a free agent. And Shy Toto went back home to Carolina. And in the draft, they took in the first round, they took Clemson defensive tackle Brian Bresee and added a defensive end in Isaiah Foskey from Notre Dame. But other than that, they actually did take a quarterback, ironically from Fresno State, and Jake Haener. They took him there in the fourth round. And he also took wide receiver A.T. Perry from Wake Forest. But for the New Orleans Saints, can they win the division for the first time since 2020? Let's take a look. Okay, New Orleans, let's take a look at your schedule. And you're going to start your season off against the Tennessee Titans. And normally, on paper, the Saints are the better team. But if you know anything about Week 1, you're going to get a few upsets here and there. And I think the Titans will surprise everyone by winning on the road in the Superdome against the New Orleans Saints. So give me the Titans Week 1. Then Week 2, they have a Monday night game against the Carolina Panthers, which could be possibly Bryce Young's first home game. I do think the Panthers are going to win this game. Not because I'm biased, but it's one of those games. But the Panthers have been playing the Saints tough these past couple of years. Their first win, however, will come in the form against Green Bay, followed by another win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But they're going to lose to the New England Patriots Week 5. But Week 6, they're going to get a bounce back win against the Texans. They're going to get a huge win, a Thursday night win against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And in Week 8, they're going to go on the road and get another win, this time against the Colts. So far the Saints already have 3 road wins this year, followed by a home win against the Bears, which makes it 4 in a row. But they're going to lose to the Vikings Week 10 because that's what Saints do. They always find a way to lose to the Vikings, regardless if they have a winning record or not. And after their bye week, I have them losing to the Falcons on the road. I have the Lions beating them at home Week 13, coming off of Thanksgiving. But I do have them revenging themselves against the Carolina Panthers. And this leads us to, but the next two games that I have not predicted at this point, New York Giants and Rams, those are 2 games that could go either way. And because I think that, I'm really going to just lean towards the home team because I'm just that unsure on how both teams are going to be. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and give the Saints a home win against the Giants and a road loss to the Rams, a road loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and a home win against the Falcons, which puts their record is 9-8. 9-8, which could be enough for them to win the division, given how transitional the NFC South is. But it could be surprising if I will be surprised if they don't make the playoffs. I'll say that. So let me know in the comments below what record you think the Saints are going to have. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.